Let me understand from you, what does the nomination of Martha Koome mean for the judiciary in your view?
One, I think it's momentous in many respects, and I think the most critical one is for the first time in the history of this country, we have a woman as Chief Justice. Now, Martha Koome is not there because she's a woman, but because she's competent. She come here, she's gotten there through hard work. She's a deserving candidate, but it's a big thing, and I think it needs to be celebrated. And the judiciary is now headed by 3 women, and that does say something about where we have come as a country, and I think it's something that we need to celebrate.
Kamotho, your opening statement presupposes that it's a done deal. No further obstacles in the way for ascension to the post of Chief Justice. Is that how you see it?
I'm an optimist. I would be very surprised if there were political hurdles on that route. I'd be very, very surprised. I would imagine that obviously there'll be the normal sorts of objections here and there. But I think on the whole, that's not the sort of candidate that one expects would go and fail in Parliament. No.
Kamotho, for millions of Kenyans who've never met Martha Koome, maybe have only watched her on TV, how would you compare or contrast her style from previous Chief Justices? David Maraga, retired Chief Justice, or the first Chief Justice under the 2010 Constitution, Willy Mutunga. Since you know her personally, from our interactions earlier, you made that clear. How would you describe her for those who've never met her?
Martha is what I'd call, in terms of jurisprudence, she's a progressive moderate, in the sense that if you read her rulings, she tends to go on the progressive route, but it's restrained. She's not reckless. She's very sober. She's been one of the more solid judges in the many years that she's been in the bench. And I think we need to remember where she has come from. When she was giving her interview, it was very interesting describing her childhood. She was, I think, the last born child in a polygamous family, growing up in a mud hut and all that. She describes what hard work can do to bring a person from that level. She has not been held by anyone's, by the hand and been taken along the corridors. She has worked hard to get there. And then she has been an activist. She's a believer, I would say that. At heart, she's a believer. In her days during the fight for the second liberation, she was very strong, using the courts to push for issues, of justice and human rights. She, as chair of FIDA, she was there during the most effective season of FIDA, when FIDA really made an impact in terms of pushing for women's and children's rights. She's, from what I know about her, she's a consensus builder. So I think she brings good qualities to the bench. She would definitely need to grow her administrative skills, because she's been a judge most of her life. Mm-hmm. So she does need to grow in terms of her ability to run an institution the size of a judiciary. But I think those are skills that one can grow, and the infrastructure for that is already there. So I think it's one of those things that we've gotten a combination of what I would call the political wisdom of Willy Mutunga. She's not the jurisprudence, in my view, of Mutunga's quality, but she's no mean jurisprudence, But Mutunga was in a class of his own. He was a scholar, had been a lecturer, and so in that sense, he belonged to the class of scholarly jurisprudence. But she herself, in her rulings, has shown herself to be a fairly intelligent, judge, very well reasoned, and so I have every confidence that she will do well. In that group of the people who are interviewed, and even outside those who are interviewed, she would definitely have been our top 5 of persons who would go to that post. She's more than deserving of that position.
Kamotho, if there'll be no other opposition to her ascension to the post of Chief Justice, what do you think she should prioritize? Because many feel she has quite a busy entry awaiting her, the matter of the 41, or should I say the 40 judges, the question of corruption and the role the judiciary plays possibly in slowing down the justice process. And so much more. I mean, even that advice by the former Chief Justice Maraga to the President, dissolve Parliament. I know it's not directly before her, but with time, she may be called upon to give an opinion on some of those issues. What should she prioritize?
I think the first thing is to ensure that we resolve that issue of the bench. By ensuring that those judges are sworn in, or as soon as possible. That really must be her priority. And that's not just because it's an important issue to resolve, but it's also because its impact on the delivery of justice for the citizen has been terrible, has been very prejudicial. Right now some of the courts, particularly in the Environment and Land Court, are not functional. If you go to the Court of Appeal, it is not functional. So there are very many things that have gone wrong in the 1 year when this push and pull has been going on. So from where I sit, the thing that she needs to resolve the day after she's sworn in is that question about the new judges, and then ensure that we even increase the judges. So I think that is her first priority. She must also continue the process that was started, I think, in the days when Gladys Boss was the CRJ, which is the expansion of the court system, to ensure that the justice is available in every part of this country, in Modogashe, in every part, in Taita Taveta, all those places, to ensure that the small claims court that was started just the other day are operational, to ensure that those small disputes that people bring to courts no longer have to go through the tedious court system. So that is just about the delivery of justice, ensuring that it's functioning. But a very important issue is also to ensure that the profile of the judiciary is reclaimed. There's a time after 2010 where we believed corruption in the judiciary is dead. The truth of the matter is that if you listen, there's sufficient anecdotal evidence that it is creeping back. And it is important to distinguish between what is perception and what is reality. And she needs to give leadership in that respect. Unfortunately, she has not, at least from what I know. There has been no credible or even any serious allegations where her integrity has been in challenge. So that, again, just like Justice Maraga, who did not have a challenge on the question of integrity, she would be able to lead in that area. That area that she needs to do, she does need to manage the relationship between the judiciary and the executive. And that is not to make the judiciary subservient to the executive, but to recognize something that I think, unfortunately, Justice Maraga, and he was a great judge in every other respect, but in the one thing that I think he missed is understanding that the role of the Chief Justice is not just to be a good judge. That's the easy part. Is to ensure that the judiciary operates efficiently, but it plays its role as one of the arms of government. And so that means you must play the role of relationship building between the other two arms, between the Senate and the National Assembly, and of course with the executive, because if that cooperation is not there, then you're not going to be able to proceed, and the judiciary is not going to play its rightful role. So she has a huge job
Kamotho,
of recognizing that she has a quasi-political role.
Kamotho, yes. I'm going to